Welcome back to another episode of the Ali Show, podcast from Backtrend, where you can expect to hear about implementable solutions to everyday problems in the B2B trade credit space. I'm your host, Ali. I'm the Director of Product and Engineering at Backtrend. My role primarily involves around working with our customers to understand how we can provide the best solutions, as well as working with our partners. One of them, which is here with us today, to understand how we can serve our customers better. So today I have here with me Mr. Alec from NCS. He's the Director of Strategic Partnerships. He's going to run us through how to best manage risk in the construction trade credit space. We're going to have a great discussion. I guess starting off, Mr. Alec, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? You know, sort of what you do. My understanding is that you have a new role here at NCS. So, just tell us a bit about NCS, what NCS does, what you do, educate the people.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I know we've talked about doing something like this even before the Ali show was even realized. So it's nice to be here and to be with you and everyone. And NCS, just a quick background. So we started in 1970 as a commercial collection agency. My grandfather, Howard Cowan, founded the business, and some people consider him the grandfather of the mechanics lien process, which from a service standpoint, which I think is funny. But from commercial debt grew a need for helping people secure their assets. And so often in the 70s, what my grandfather was seeing was unsecured debt. And as we know, unsecured debt it's hard to collect, it's messy, and it's definitely more of an art than a science in terms of getting that money back in the door. And so he decided to go upstream, work with construction companies to secure the debt, and then figure out how to do that. And that's where the notice and mechanics lien process, some of these terms I know we'll define in a little bit, but it became really interesting. So we started doing construction services work in the 80s. His sudden passing in the 90s, my grandmother took over. Then my mother, the current president, has been running the business since the mid-2000s. And she has professionalized, grown substantially, and brought in the amazing team of folks that we have here today. So I'm super proud of her. I'm really proud to be part of the team. And now we continue to be the industry leader and kind of the cornerstone of everyone's credit department, kind of leaned on for knowledge and whatnot. And as you mentioned, I have a new role. I'm super excited. Jerry Bailey, who retired in January of this year, he was the voice of NCS, and to some, my dad. I got a lot of that. We're both tall, so some people saw that similarity, but no, he's not my dad. But he was the voice of NCS for 29 years. And he worked a lot with marketing, education, and promotion of NCS. And so that's part of my role is going to be continue doing that sort of thing, which is, again, these types of partnerships, speaking. But then the other side is kind of where my title came from, is partnerships and strategic partnerships at that. So still working with credit associations and trade groups for education, mostly on the marketing side, but then working with folks like Backtrend on the technology side, making sure that we're coming to the table to our clients with something more than just a service to fill a problem. We're now creating a consulting environment. Like, come with us, we'll perform these services, and here's my partner. It's kind of bring a more fulsome solution, which is really what people are looking for today.
Yeah, and for those of you guys, I guess listeners that don't know, NCS and Backtrend, we've had a very long relationship. That was actually one of the first few integrations we built out. We have a lot of mutual customers, in the construction space as well as other areas. So, we provide a lot of added benefit to our mutual clients as well.
Exactly right. And so now, today, where we came into these partnerships mostly from the clients requesting it, right? They came to either Backtrend or NCS and said, we're large enough that we can't do all of this with people. So we need help. And that comes in the form of technology. So now I'm just becoming a little bit more intentional, which is kind of my quote for 2025, the year of intention, to be strategic and to seek out those people who may need a joint relationship, a provider and a technology partner, pair those two together and optimize their credit department.
Like you said, construction credit is very different. Why don't we start with a few basic definitions? Can you just walk us through, in your view, like how construction credit is different than regular trade credit? A couple of basic definitions. You talk about mechanics liens and liens and whatnot. If you just sort of explain what those things are, just so the viewers, they understand.
Absolutely. Yeah. So construction credit the largest difference between construction credit and really any other credit is just the complexity. I mean, so in most credit type of environments, it's a one-to-one. And you are analyzing a risk scenario with one individual, one company, one something. In construction credit, it's far from that. If you're a raw material supplier, you may be selling to a subcontractor who's working for a general contractor, who's been hired by an owner, who's getting funds from a bank. Any one of those people in the ladder of supply could be holding up your payment for the services that you've provided. So not only do you have to conduct diligence on your customer, but you need to know who's their customer, who's the actual person funding the project or company funding the project, and so forth. And then a whole other topic is, what about labor, right? Because if you go provide labor, you can't undo the installation you've already done. So it's tough. There's no like repossession cases because you're working on a building or piece of land where things are permanent. And so it comes, okay, how do we do this? And that's again where the notice and mechanics lien process kind of comes into play. And so to your point, a couple of those definitions. So a notice is literally just an administrative piece of paper that declares you are on a job site and that you know your rights. It's not good or bad. It has nothing to do with creditworthiness or someone's ability to pay you back. It's just a document. It's super cut and dry. A lien, on the other hand, that's a legal document. That'll get people talking. That's when you hear about foreclosures and lawsuits and bankruptcies. There needs to be some sort of security measure, a lien, a bond claim.
I learned a lot about liens from NCS, doing the integration with you guys.
And that's
I didn't know anything about that.
It's tough there. It's tough. The notice process is it's not legal, so you can just kind of turn and burn. But liens, it's serious. We've got to have attorneys involved. Got to make sure that the right eyes are on the right words. It's a complicated process, which is why the whole scope of credit, construction credit, it's just very complex in general.
Thank you for that. I think that will give viewers a good understanding of what the basic definitions are. Now let's get into some of the more interesting stuff.
Yeah, let's get into it.
When we were planning out this podcast, one of the things we wanted to discuss was what the next gen in credit looks like, right? Like we have a lot of new things happening, especially on the technology side, but we also have new minds coming in. Like we're talking about how there's a new age of the workforce coming in, and they expect to do things differently, and they have different expectations from the processes as well as the technology. So what do you think at a high level is going to be the next gen in credit technology, especially around construction credit, or generally, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to finally see kind of the next generation come into managerial position. So think about millennials, so late 30s to late 20s, that group, that cohort, I'm in that as well.
Yeah, me too.
And so our parents, right, our baby boomer generation, right, statistically, there are less people in the workforce than there ever will be, becoming less. So our parents' generation had a lot of people. They could fill these spots. Yeah. So our generation's coming in and expected to work at businesses that are continuing to grow. There's more projects, there's more work, but now there's less people. So how do you fill that gap? It's technology. So folks that are in this millennial age group, and it doesn't always have to be by age, but that's just the group that's more involved with that sort of thinking and mindset, is how can we become more efficient? How can we have the same credit team and do more with less? And that's just a fundamental topic that's been coming up, and why our partnership so many years ago was kind of early in the process. Right now, I feel like we're really getting into the mid innings of this becoming almost required at companies at some level. Not full automation, but at least,
especially for our larger customers, it's like an expectation.
Yeah, our Fortune 500 mutual clients, you can't run a company that big without it. It's impossible, or at least not to be competitive in the market.
Like you said, with we worked a lot together for our mutual customers. So I guess for the audience, just for them to understand, what have been some of the use cases for our mutual customers? How have we been able to help them? As well as, what do you see for the future? What steps or processes or technology do you think credit teams can put in place to strengthen their risk analysis and then help them, get secure?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there's no one size fits all for this. So even if you have two of the exact same size companies in the same industry in the same part of the U.S., how they believe they should implement technology may be completely different. And so that's why, first of all, it's important to be wary of technology. Don't fully trust it, right? Make the technology work for you, not the other way around. So you want to make sure that, anyone listening, if you have a partner in technology, approach a Vectran, approach an NCS, and define success the way that you believe it, not how we believe it. Because whoever's listening, they'll know their business much better than we ever will.
Yeah.
So however they define success, let us tailor-made our solutions to them. And so one example for that would be collecting job information. Digitize that. So often, it's crazy the amount of clipboards and papers and pens I still see people scanning them into our system. The notice process. Have someone collect that information through a portal up front and have it moved over to our system. The cash application and initial diligence through Vectran. Those are really easy, repetitive tasks that can be the low-hanging fruit, which I know is a buzzword, but that's where people should start. You don't need the term fully automate is tough, right? Because there should always be some human intervention and critical thinking components in our
human in the loop. Human in the loop, like we say that a lot for our customers.
I remember that presentation you had.
Yeah. What our customers expect. Like, they don't necessarily want the system to do everything, but they want the system to make recommendations.
Yes,
like you said.
Exactly. So if they can give you, and I call that my half-baked pie theory. If it can give you a pie and you just got to put the whipped cream on top, that's perfect. That's what should happen. You shouldn't be cutting it up and giving it to people, and then there's bad, ingredients in the middle, right? So it's let us make it for you. Let us partner and decide and be a consultant, be an extension of your credit department, not just an out-of-the-box software that someone signs up for and may or may not actually help with efficiency long-term.
That's a good point, because how we, at least like our companies operate, or what we want to do for our customers is have a consulting approach, right? Like, be able to, we don't want our customers just to think that they're buying software from us or buying a service, but we would like them to think that they are buying from us our expertise, right? Like, every day, I mean, for my job, I'm sure your job too, you see a lot of different problems with different customers, right? And then we are in a unique vantage point because we get to see it from all angles, right?
Yes.
So we're able to use that knowledge and help our customers, because everybody is different, but most of the problems, they follow the same theme, right? And we can advise them like, hey, other customers have done it this way. So yeah, talk about that. Talk about how NCS takes a consulting approach, how we have also worked together for customers doing that consulting approach from solutions as well as processes.
Yeah, absolutely. And NCS, since our conception in 1970, we've always had the viewpoint of education and being seen as a partner. And so that's kind of been our DNA is helping people. We offer training and education and webinars and all that is just a complimentary product. And a lot of it's free. And I know we've done joint things like this, just kind of helping the credit community and just being, a pillar of not only education, but what could be coming in the industry as well. And, working together on that sort of consultative approach that's really breaking through the next wall of customer relationship. And so oftentimes at these types of conferences, I see people come up to you all the time, whether they just want to say hi to you or it's like, hey, I have this issue. And then you internalize it and you respond to them, right? That's the way that we approach it as well. It's not like, hey, we have this software, how can it work for you? That's too easy. And then oftentimes it doesn't really work like that. As you mentioned, it can be the same software doesn't operate the same with both people or both companies. So it's just tell me your problems. It's just tell me more, tell me more. And then once you have it all down, you can kind of drill into what's actually going on. Is it a process thing? Is it a human capital thing? Or is it really that they have no technology and they need to kind of build infrastructure from the ground up? So we're just digging and finding information. And then we kind of assess the damages there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And as we move into the future, I guess it'll be very important for this consulting approach, right? So I guess, what do you see construction credit looking like in, let's say, 5 years from now, 2030? What does that look like, landscape-wise, technology-wise, as well as, what do you see changing?
2030, 5 years from now, I mean, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be able to tell you a much better answer. But where I think it may go is, I think more people will adapt some sort of technology in their business. I think it'll be almost mandatory, which I think I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't mean that from the very start to the very end, they're going to have some large language model that's reading everything and giving them a direct outcome. Not like that. But will everyone have some sort of digital output, whether it's credit applications, job information sheets? I think that'll become pretty standard. And so no longer will we be talking about APIs and imports as foreign with the smaller businesses. I think that'll all be kind of second nature to them. But I mean, knowing what I know with our integration, I think over time, the barriers of entry to that level of detail will lessen. And I think folks, especially again, as millennials become in management, I think maybe the taboo around sharing accounts receivable may lessen a little bit as data security becomes a little bit more involved as well. I just think it's just going to be easier to have one system that's outsourced from your internal ERP or CRM system that helps you manage the entire life cycle of project management and not just one portion of it. But I mean, again, seeing what our platforms do together, it's crazy to think that won't be something that's just more common because it saves so much time.
Yeah,
it really does. And so obviously this is the Ali show, so I got to ask you some questions. So on your technology side, obviously from construction services and construction credit, I think technology would be more involved. But surely you're getting questions that are, I mean, you guys are more like on the pure tech side, so you must be getting some questions that are like pretty out of left field. I mean, what are people hoping that it will look like in 2030 from kind of your angle?
I think there's a lot of high expectations, right? That like you look to a future where nobody's going to do any work. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't necessarily see that, but I do think that it will be like you will have your own digital assistant.
Okay. Yeah. Like a Copilot or something to kind of automate your decision making.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of that today, and we have obviously been working on it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a little more granular than that. I think what would happen is that you would teach somebody or something, and I don't know what that would be, the way that you think, so that it can take on a lot of the menial tasks.
Sure.
So I'll give you a few examples on how we've done it already. So, for example, one of the things that Credit Manager is very good at is being able to understand customer sentiments.
Yeah.
Like they can tell you if based on how a customer is talking to you, like if they're gonna pay late or not. Like, there's something seems fishy here. Very hard to automate. A lot of it is like nuance, right? I'm on the call with the customer.
Yeah.
I get an email from him, or they came into the branch today and they had their face was a little off, right? When they were delivering the payment.
Yeah.
But there are things that you can do. You can have sentiment analysis on email communication, right? It's not perfect. Maybe it doesn't have the exact nuanced thing that Credit Manager would do, but still it's helpful to some degree. Other things like that maybe requires some level of fuzzy logic, right? Would be like checking inconsistencies and things.
Sure.
Right? Like if I'm trying to set up a customer, and I want to make sure all the documents, belong to that customer. So to be able to like find nuances and inconsistencies in that, that's a lot of manual work. You're looking at all these documents and whatnot. Or if, one of the things that we're actually just released is a lot of what credit managers do is they Google their customers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Alex Roofing, right? Like, let me see what's on the internet about Alex Roofing. Let me go to their website and see if it's established, right? Like guys asking for, let's say, $100,000 in credit, at least should have a website. You would think. So, but then they may also want to search, like, Angie's List, right? The company that does the reviews, like, for construction. So they want to, are they a good contractor? Mm-hmm. If they're a bad contractor and I give them credit, is that really a wise decision?
Right.
So things of that sort, and we're getting there slowly. It's kind of like I always take the example of self or autonomous driving.
Yeah.
Right. Autonomous driving is not something that was given to us like like overnight, right? Like it's been like first we had cruise control, like that came out in like the 90s. Mercedes came out with that. Then we had adaptive lane assistance, right? So it's like it's gonna happen little by little. But I do think where I see this going is the industry will shift towards expectations of having the menial, repetitive work, like you said, be done by assistants, and the industry will also gravitate towards like more complex work, which cannot be done or cannot be automated, like customer relationship management.
Yeah.
Right? You have a lot of large customers. I have a lot of large customers. They are not going to want to have their relationship be managed by an AI. Like they need to call Ali or call Alec. Like I cannot do it. Like if you deal with like large corporations, right, or a larger customer, like they need that human touch, right?
Absolutely.
So I don't think that going away. I hope not. I like that piece.
Me too.
So, but that's what I think.
Yeah, and that goes well with a lot of the topics that I've been reading and other podcasts that you've done. Is this is the golden era of critical thinking. And when we listen to these presentations of AI, like, there's real fear about job replacement. And while I understand there's definitely some aspect of it that's true, but I think that those people, especially in the managerial position, which is a lot of our industry, right, credit managers, customer relationship part of it, and not only to us, to our customers, but our customers to their customers, vendors, distributors, like you said, that they want to talk to somebody and get a good feel for what's going on. Like, hey, can you just extend this one time? Yeah. AI probably wouldn't do that. But then we want to empower our clients, credit managers, to use the knowledge that's why they're in the position they are, to critically think. Use that instead of a sentiment analysis. Use their brain. They know their relationship. They can kind of piece together all these things, and I think that technology will actually augment that. Cut out the repetitive stuff and keep people thinking high level. Should we do this? The yes or no is simple. Anyone could come up with something, but how is that answer determined? That's critical thinking 101.
One of the things that you mentioned, which was important, is the relationship side. I guess moving away from technology for a second. In trade credit, I always tell everybody, customer relationship is very important, and so much, much more in construction, right? Like, because you have all these parties, you have to maintain all the right relationships, like you said, like different parties working on one job. Yep. How would you recommend credit teams to maintain good customer relationships? What do you think are some hallmarks of ensuring that you have good relationships with your customers? Because obviously, even in that scenario, you have to maintain a good relationship so that they keep buying from you, right?
That kind of goes back to what we said at the very beginning, is just being intentional. Customer relationships are like personal relationships. You can't just coast.
Yeah.
You got to put effort in, and you got to work at it. And it starts with communication. I think that's the obvious answer, but it's how's the communication done? And technology aside, it's just about, well, first of all, the needy customers, right? Should probably be reaching out to them more.
Yeah.
Or the larger customers. People have their different preferences, so I don't think there's a one size fits all. But as we both mentioned, we have mutual clients, and I think that we know which ones need more attention than others.
Yeah.
And
rightfully so. Like, I'm not even saying that that's a bad thing. You want to be close to your customers, so like how they're feeling, right? Like what problem will they have next, or what opportunities will there be next?
Yeah. It's not a bad thing at all. It's just, construction credit is complicated, as we know, and it's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes, remember in February and March, the tariff scare, which is still kind of lingering, but the inbound questions we had from the industries that were affecting that, lumber, especially anyone that was importing aggregates.
Yeah.
They had no idea what was going to happen. So they were relying on folks like NCS, like, hey, 20 years ago, this kind of happened before. What did you guys see then? And so we pulled out some old examples that may not be that topical now, but at least it provides
in the same vein,
it gets you somewhere. At least it gets a topic started, and that's the most important thing. So not only is it about communicating, but then I guess the second part is just KYC, know your client. And when certain macroeconomic or political type of decisions are made, we need to know, okay, who's top of mind that's going to be affected and be proactive about it. And people really like that. If you can kind of come to them with an article or something that you think may affect them, it shows that you care. It shows that you're in tune with the market. And I think that's how you retain, the big boys, the guys that are around that create a substantial impact on your company.
Those were all great points, Mr. Alec. I think the audience would really appreciate you bringing this knowledge. Like I said, I don't really know much about leans, so obviously I need
You do
that. I do now. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the viewers will really appreciate you giving some knowledge to them, and just be more educated. Like you said, it's a lot of it is about education.
Yes.
So really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me. I know, again, it's a long time coming, but I hope to do this again with another topic soon. But before we go, I have one question for you. Obviously, everyone knows you have the personality for this type of thing, but actually conceptualizing and having that people can't see it, but there's lots of cameras and mics, people,
a lot of equipment, lights and stuff,
a lot of important people setting this stuff up. So what made you finally decide, like, I'm going to actually do this? And I mean, you're almost 10 episodes in, so it's not just a one-time thing. So I'd love to know the history about it.
It's actually not my idea.
Okay.
So it's all marketing. In my regular daily life, I get to speak to a lot of customers, and then I get to solve their problem, which is a privilege, right?
Yeah,
but then
absolutely.
I kind of solve their problem and go about my day, right? Like I move on to the next problem.
Yep.
But her point, our director of marketing, was that that's very valuable insight, like that I carry, and not just me, like people in the company, right? So like we have, for example, an enterprise team, so that deals with our enterprise customers. They have one set of problems. I mostly look at that.
Yeah.
Then we have a SMB team, which deals more on the smaller sides. They have different problems. But in any case, like I was saying, the problems are mostly the same across customers.
Yeah.
So it helps us to, one, educate the market, that sometimes in credit you feel that you are the only one, but if we can show to teams like, hey, everybody else is facing the same problem, this is how you solve for it. They really feel that, okay, there's a light, because sometimes it may get overwhelming, like what you were saying, right? In construction, a lot of moving parts. You're a credit manager, you may feel like, God, how do I deal with all this, right?
Yeah, it's just me.
Yeah, it's just me. So that's one, and then the other reason is there too, because we want to make sure that whether somebody goes with us or not, not even the point of selling the software, but they should know what they should expect from a vendor.
Sure.
To keep standards high.
Yeah.
Right, like what you were talking about, right? Like you need to. Customers need to have high expectations of their vendors and push them, drive them to deliver solutions for them. So one of the ways I can help with that is being able to show what we have done for our customers. So they hold anybody to the same standard, right? So like that's one of the reasons. But yeah, I'm excited, like where the podcast goes. Very excited to have obviously customers on it. We've had a few customers on it. We're here at CRF in Austin actually right now, so there are a lot of customers here, but also partners. Like I want to do this more with you guys, different partners that we have, so that we can talk about our integrations as well as how we can help them solve problems together. So that's actually I can't take all of the credit. Mostly marketing work.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's a good way to archive conversations, look back at them.
Yeah.
Again, and show proof that this is kind of like how we operate and what we can do. It's a nice format.
Yeah.
It's very popular. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Alec. I'm sure we'll do a lot of great work together.
Yes, another episode soon.
Yes, sir.